Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody that's joining us online as well. Is anybody here for their first time? Nobody's been here before? Okay.
First, to the Zen practice.
Right on. Awesome. Welcome. Right on. So we're just going to sit for a little longer than maybe some of the other classes here. But we'll sit and for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we will do a little reading. We'll share some of my thoughts on there, and then anybody is free to share their thoughts or any questions as well. And then we'll sit for another 20 minutes as well, and we'll just get in whatever posture you're comfortable in, and we'll just focus on our breathing and try not to get sucked in by what our monkey mind, by everything that's happened today, and just focus on our breathing. And that's it. All right, so we'll get started. going to read a little something from Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. This chapter is the traditional Zen spirit. So the most important things in our practice are physical posture and our way of breathing. We are not so concentrated about a deep understanding of Buddhism. As a philosophy, Buddhism is a very deep, wide, and firm system of thought. But Zen is not concerned about philosophical understanding. We emphasize practice. We should understand why our physical posture and breathing exercise are so important. Instead of having a deep understanding of the teaching, we need a strong confidence in our teaching, which says that originally we have Buddha nature. Our practice is based on this faith. One of the things that I really like about Zen is that we're able to not get too bogged down with concepts. And I think there are people who know a lot about Buddhism but don't practice Buddhism, and that doesn't necessarily make them a Buddhist. And the idea that all I have to do is sit and calm my monkey mind down, as he says, and not engage in all these thoughts and feelings that are barraging me as I sit down to meditate. It's something that I'm able to take with me into my daily life, where I have a pause, I have a greater awareness, so I don't always have to react to what's going on in my daily commute or daily life. It's still difficult. I still think it's challenging, and that's why it's a practice. It's not necessarily easy. One of the things as well is that the idea of awakening, you look at the Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists. There's the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path, the way, which is the Eightfold Path. But when I read the Third Noble Truth, that there's a cessation to suffering, and it talks about nirvana and awakening. And I initially found it kind of overwhelming. It's like, do I have to walk this path and get somewhere to have achieved this? But in Zen, you don't. It's almost, you don't, it's not, he talks about that. He talks about how if you're engaging in your practice and you have a goal, you're no longer practicing zazen. So that's the whole aspect of Buddha nature, is you're expressing yourself through your practice. And there are moments that we can experience that are similar to nirvana. And translated would be kind of like extinguishing our suffering or extinguishing discomfort or disease. And so that's kind of how I think about it. And the more we sit, the more we practice, the more we get to have these moments and embrace that awareness. But I think it's important to not get so bogged down with, teachings and everything else, when it's just that daily life is the practice of Buddhism. I think that's something I've really been thinking about a lot lately, where, it's not about sitting down and memorizing a book or a chapter or being able to talk about it. It's going out into the world and being kind and compassionate and patient, and being able to embrace that. That's all I have to say. If anybody has anything they'd like to add, sit in silent for a minute or two before we meditate again as well.
why is it easier to, why does it feel easier to distract yourself with TV or snack or food, or why is it easier to distract yourself than just to sit down? Like, I've been struggling a little bit with that, but I try to meditate every day, but sometimes, I just feel like, let me just,
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give me, to keep discipline in my practice?
Well, I think it's in the name in terms of being a practice. And I think it's very easy to distract ourselves, watching television. I mean, there's so many different ways. I mean, just when I'm at work, it's like people are shopping, but they're on their phone, like talking to somebody on speakerphone while they're shopping or doing a million other things. And a lot of people just don't focus on what they're doing, myself included. But it's difficult to do, and I think part of it is because it's almost like sometimes I think of it as like I'm comfortable just being with myself. So I don't spend a lot of time with myself, and I think that's the point and the concept of Buddha nature, is that you're tuning a lot of that out, and then trying to get comfortable with being with yourself and just being in the present moment, more importantly. I mean, ultimate truth is accepting the world as it is in that present moment. Not in a way that you want to see it that makes us happy or that makes us feel better. So it's funny you ask that question, because every Sunday I get on my phone how many hours a day I'm on my phone. And it's over 2 hours a day on my phone, so 2 hours and 10 minutes a day. And what does that include? Shopping, looking at stuff, it's just attachment, like all these things. And I thought to myself, I want to start trying to, like by next week I want to see that I've been on my phone less. But I think it's like I'm so aware of that, and I still do it, but I'm very aware. I go home and I sit down and I watch TV. But I do think that in this practice with sitting, over time, the more we do it, the easier or more natural it feels to be in the present moment and be okay, and just to notice things that are going on around us that we just ignore, that I just ignore. I mean, things are absolutely beautiful, but I think that's why it's called a practice. I think it's challenging, it's difficult, you have to do it every day, and we also have to be kind of forgiving on ourselves as well. I don't. It's just not going to happen overnight. So, and I think that's the kind of the aspect of like nirvana or awakening isn't some place that we get to and then we experience that. It's something that we get to have those moments of, and then I think that's maybe a motivating factor as well.
Yeah. I mean, is there really a way of how to live life based on the conditions that the Buddhism program really has? Because by trying to understand Buddhism, it's just another way of placing a category of someone in the box based on the way how they live their life, right? So it still has to follow certain guidelines. So if you live your life as just living your life itself, without any external influence or any type of programming that's been attached to you for a long time, and so that's where you kind of get confused. We're still attached to certain things that were put into our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there really a way how to live life, or why not just live it? It's always different every day, right? Nothing is the same anymore. Even within religion too, as well. Mm-hmm. So we just decide to live our own lives and just live it within the present moment. Because a lot of it's a lot of pressure based on society I don't understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So, how do you live your life or something?
Well, I don't think it's maybe not.
That makes sense.
My life, but I do think though that when you look at Zen practice within the confines of Zen practice and Buddhism in general, I mean, the most important. I think the most important thing is understanding that the world is impermanent. It's constantly changing, and we need to understand that. The whole goal is, I think, to live in the present moment as it is, without any of these other influences.
Do you accept it, a certain thing? I think it's sort of a lot of time.
Well, I guess acceptance is a big part of it. I mean, if you are accepting someone, if you have a problem with someone, or you're having an issue with someone, and you're able to accept that individual for who they are, I mean, then you're not going to have as many issues dealing with that person going forward. You're not in the acceptance of that individual, or a situation. You're not, carrying around a lot of these feelings of anger or any other feeling. I mean, I think at work it's a great example. I mean, if something happens at work, I have a tendency to belabor what is happening at work. Or I could accept what's happening at work and then accept that that's the reality I'm living in right now. And then I've let go of that and I've moved on. There's no attachment to what I wanted it to be and what it's not. It's the concept of clinging to what we want and aversion, pushing away what we don't want.
It's also changing narratives every time.
What's that?
Changing narratives.
Yes, I mean it's
If you stick to the truth, that's what you realize.
and the truth is accepting reality as it is in the present moment. I mean, that's the ultimate truth. So but again, I mean, I go back. That's why it's just a practice. That's why it's never going to be easy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that meditation is not an escape. It's not an escape. It's not a coping mechanism. We're not going to sit and feel good. Just because we sit doesn't mean we're going to feel amazing afterwards. It doesn't mean that there's some reward for doing that, but it's just a daily practice.
I think that the way that we use accept and the way I understand our use of accept in this culture has two distinct meanings. Someone could have let's just do an easy look for an example, like their boss is somebody who's mean to people, and they can understand that that's going to happen every day or at least once a week. But you need the job, so you just accept it. You're going to go in and you're just going to get that, and it's worth it. I accept that this is part of the deal. And then there's the truly abiding in what's occurring. It's, in my understanding, without the application of judgment, without inserting yourself, without you being battling some other entity. So it's just abiding in what is, as opposed to begrudgingly accepting conditions or having that be part of a negotiation with yourself and some other.
Yeah,
And that's what I got out of it.
That's true. I mean, there's an aspect of intention there, because sometimes, you're right. You would just show up and continue to do something because you don't have a choice. But then there's having the intention of, of accepting that, or accepting that reality as it is in that moment, and then not, I guess, having judgment on that person or that situation. Meditate for a few more minutes. appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I think our host will have something to read for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Vicki and I'm tonight's host. We opened the Dharma Temple 18 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction problems. And our food redistribution program meets every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is always free. The full schedule is on our website and posted in the entryway above the shura. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow and then bring it back whenever you're finished. Please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out. If a couple people could help close the windows, that would be awesome. And thank you for being here. Wish you well and hope to see you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.